All the person have anything to do before the Honorable Justice of the Municipal Court, George S. Division, may now draw near. Give your sentence yourself, your God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Court. Please be seated. No talking.
Thank you, officer. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Today is Monday, September 21st. We're in first session with the Honorable Judge Performance presiding. If you hear your name called, please step to the podium. Alvel Silvestri. Thank you. Michael McCarthy, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make a statement that this is a sensitive nature of this case, as in all cases in this courthouse. I expect everyone to report their behavior with the appropriateness of a quorum, okay? And anyone who does not act accordingly will be asked to leave the quorum. Thank you very much for your time.
Before we begin, my name is Jonathan Shapiro. I represent Michael McCarthy. And can we see you at the sidebar?
Yes, Counsel.
On the record on docket 1507, CI 3688, Commonwealth versus Michael McCarthy, before the court being charged with improper disposition of human body and murder. Also before the court is docket number 1507, CI 3687, Commonwealth versus Rachelle Bond, before the court being charged with improper disposition of human body, accessory after the fact. Pleas of not guilty have been entered on both of these parties.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Counsel, could you please identify yourself and your client for the record?
Jonathan Shapiro, representing Michael McCarthy.
Good morning, Counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Janice Basil on behalf of Rachelle Bond.
Good morning, Counsel.
Assistant District Attorney David Deacon on behalf of the Commonwealth, Your Honor.
The Commonwealth, I'll hear you on document 2015-3688, as well as document number 15-3687, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. In a moment, I will, there is an issue of bail as to each defendant. The Commonwealth is requesting that as to Mr. McCarthy, the court hold him without bail pending presentation of the matter to the grand jury. As to Ms. Bond, the Commonwealth requests that bail be set in the amount of $1 million cash. Briefly, Your Honor, the complaints before the court allege the following set of circumstances. By way of brief background, on June 25th of this year, a woman walking her dog on Deer Island found a plastic contractor's construction bag and noted that her dog had run over to it and was pawing at it, very interested in the contents. She went over to the bag after asking another person to come with her, opened the bag partially and saw what appeared to be the limb of a small child. She immediately called 911. Massachusetts State Police and other first responders responded, and they opened the bag and found the body of an unknown, unidentified, approximately 3 to 4 year old child based on their estimates of her size. She was in the beginning stages of decomposition. She was wearing white leggings with black polka dots and no shirt. And there were 2 blankets, a zebra print blanket and another blanket in the bag with her. Moisture had entered the bag, but it was fairly clear that it had remained essentially sealed at the time it was found. Investigation revealed that the bag had been seen in that same spot on the beach the previous noon time, that is the 24th of June, indicating to investigators that the bag had been either washed up on the beach or in some event on the beach for approximately 24 hours. There ensued a 3-month exhaustive search comprising thousands of, maybe tens of thousands of detective hours spent trying to identify the girl without success. Detectives traced leads all across Massachusetts. They got hundreds of tips and leads and conducted scores of well-being checks on small girls. They also put out an advisory that had a picture of a forensic reconstruction of the girl's face. That is what a forensic reconstruction expert believed the girl most likely looked like in life, accounting for some effects of decomposition in her body. They were unable to recover fingerprints because of the effects of skin slippage. The detectives worked tirelessly to try to identify her, but they were unable to do so until the morning of, until Wednesday, the 16th of this month, just last Wednesday, and actually really more into Thursday morning. It was at that time, on Wednesday morning, the 2 defendants were accompanied to the Boston Medical Center by a lifelong friend of Mr. McCarthy's, who had lived with the couple earlier this year, and in living with them had come to know Ms. Bond's almost 3-year-old daughter, Bella. He had lived with them, but had moved out while Bella was still in the home. On Wednesday morning, the friend of Mr. McCarthy's was walking with Ms. Bond, who told him that she was glad that she had stopped using drugs within the last day or 2. And that pleased her that she had been able to do that. At that point, he said to her, "That's great. You'll be able to get yourself clean and get Bella back." He said that because he had been told by both defendants that Bella had been removed from Ms. Bond's custody by the Department of Children and Families earlier, and that's why he hadn't seen her. After he moved out of the apartment, he would come back and visit on an almost daily basis. And they told him that the reason he didn't see Bella anymore is that she had been removed by DCF. So when he said to Ms. Bond that it was good news that she was getting clean because she would get Bella back, Ms. Bond broke down crying and said, "I'll never see my daughter again." And he asked her, "What do you mean by that?" And she responded, "Michael McCarthy killed her and I'm an accessory after the fact because I helped him get rid of her body. The lifelong friend was stunned, didn't know what to think, and immediately texted Mr. McCarthy and said, "Tell me it isn't true, tell me it's not true." And there ensued a text conversation in which the lifelong friend explained to Mr. McCarthy what Ms. Bond had told him, to which Mr. McCarthy responded, "She's in DCF, that's where she is. Who are you going to believe, me or," and he used a derogatory term for Ms. Bond, and continued to maintain that position. The lifelong friend contacted his sister, who told him to look up online reports about Baby Doe, a case that he was aware of, but he had never seen the advisory that had been put out. He looked online at the advisory that had the photo reconstruction, as well as the pair of the pants that she had been wearing and one of the blankets that had been found with her, and he noticed a striking resemblance between Bella and Baby Doe. He then texted both Ms. Bond and Mr. McCarthy back and said, "Baby Doe, ring a bell," to which Mr. McCarthy again replied, "Who are you going to believe, me or," and he used a derogatory epithet. At that point, the lifelong friend, his sister, contacted the Boston Police Department and explained what she knew from her brother. Meanwhile, on Thursday morning, her brother, Mr. McCarthy's lifelong friend, went to the Roxbury District Court and spoke to a personnel there that he knew, a man there that he'd known for a long time, and sought his advice. As a result of that, Massachusetts State Police came to Roxbury District Court and interviewed him. And it was then that he said that he had lived with Mr. McCarthy and Ms. Bond in the late winter or early spring for approximately 1 or 2 weeks, that he had moved out because he was appalled by their treatment of her. He indicated that both of them would yell at her, would demean her. He indicated that on one occasion he saw Ms. Bond spank her daughter. But what troubled him the most was that both of them, but particularly Mr. McCarthy, had on at least 2 occasions locked the girl in the closet for between 30 minutes and an hour, and while she screamed to be let out. And Mr. McCarthy and Ms. Bond told the lifelong friend that she was possessed by demons, and that was the reason that she required that type of punishment. The lifelong friend confirmed that over the past 2 years or so, Mr. McCarthy had become very interested in the occult, purported to see demons, purported to see ghosts, and purported to be able to exorcise demons and exorcise ghosts. Massachusetts State Police then sought and obtained a search warrant for the home. Among other things found there were books on demons and demonology, although nothing else was recorded. At this time, let me continue. Police then, after executing the search warrant, interviewed both Ms. Bond and Mr. McCarthy. Ms. Bond indicated that one night when Bella hit at approximately 11:30, she believed it to have been late May, before Mr. Bond's birthday on May 29th. Bella was unwilling to go to bed and was unruly. Mr. McCarthy said that he would go into her back bedroom and try to calm her down. From what Ms. Bond then didn't hear any noise for some time from the back bedroom and went in to check on what was going on. She found Mr. McCarthy standing over Bella, who was on the bed, which the mattress was on the floor, standing over Bella with his hand near her abdomen. And when Ms. Bond looked at Bella, her head appeared to her to be swollen and her face was gray. She went to her daughter and picked her up, and she told police that she knew at that moment that her daughter was dead. She asked Mr. McCarthy what he had done, and he did not tell her, but he said she was a demon anyway, it was her time to die. At that time, Ms. Bond panicked, didn't know what to do. She reports that Mr. McCarthy told her that if she reported anything to police or any authorities, that he or his friends would kill her. And At that time, not knowing what to do, she allowed Mr. McCarthy to get a contractor bag. She presumed that he put Bella's body in the bag, which he then put in the refrigerator, and she assumed that because the body was no longer in the back bedroom.
I hope you brought him out. I'm leaving. You brought him out. You fucking brought him out.
Ms. Bond reports that Mr. McCarthy then brought a large quantity of heroin into the apartment, injected it into her neck. It's unclear whether that was with or without her consent, but in any event, it appears that they both became highly intoxicated for a period of several days, perhaps longer. Eventually, Mr. McCarthy told Ms. Bond that they would take the girl's body and dump it in Boston Harbor. So he put the plastic bag into a duffel bag, which he put into the trunk of his car, and drove to an area near the South Boston seaport. She reports that he took weights, put them in the bag, and then dumped her body in the water. The medical examiner to date has not issued a final cause and manner of death, a final autopsy report. The medical examiner has ruled out all natural causes disease process. Because there's no sign of trauma, the medical examiner indicated that one possibility that he had yet to rule out was suffocation/asphyxiation, which can be done by force without leaving any sort of marks of trauma. But medical examiner's investigation is still pending. Obviously, all this material is in the process of being provided to the medical examiner for his investigation. DNA seized from a infant's nasal syringe and a hairbrush during a search warrant was compared over the weekend to Baby Doe's DNA, samples of which were taken at autopsy, and preliminary results indicate a match between the DNA of Bella and Baby Doe. On Friday, Mass State Police also interviewed the defendant, who is in the hospital receiving treatment for an unrelated medical issue, and he continued to maintain that Bella was in DCF custody, and that that's all that he knew. He did not mention his conversations both over the phone and by text with his lifelong friend, in which his lifelong friend had passed along the accusation of Ms. Bond that he had killed her. Those, in summary, are the facts that Commonwealth anticipates proving in trial, understanding, Your Honor, that the investigation is 4 days in, and the Commonwealth anticipates significant additional evidence to be presented to the grand jury.
Anything else?
Well, I didn't know if Your Honor wants me to address the specific issues of Bond's bail and the reasons for it besides those.
I'll hear on both.
Your Honor, Ms. Bond has a lengthy criminal history. In addition to several restraining orders that have been obtained against her, including by her mother and her mother's husband, she has a very lengthy record of drug convictions and prostitution convictions. It's quite clear that Ms. Bond has engaged in a lifestyle that has been both dangerous and destructive for her. She has a very large number of arraignments. She has defaulted in, I would say, the majority of her cases at least once, in some cases more than once. And these are on charges, obviously, that are much less serious than accessory to murder, accessory after the fact to murder. It is the Commonwealth's position that not only her disregard for the law and the orders of court to return and answer charges, that her substance abuse history indicates a very significant risk that if released, she will return to that pattern of behavior and will both injure herself further and, in all likelihood, not appear for the next date in this court or in any superior court. For those reasons, Your Honor, and given the extraordinarily serious nature of the charges and the strength of the case against her, particularly given her own statement, her recorded statement to police, Commonwealth feels it appropriate to set bail in an extraordinary amount, $1 million cash.
Okay. Attorney Basil, I'll give you on the Commonwealth request a court to find $1 million bail.
Yes, Your Honor, $1 million bail is essentially the same as no bail. My client was homeless for years. That's been in the newspapers. And it is only in recent years that she has been able to get control of what was a drug habit. If you look at her record, there's been nothing since 2011. In 2011, she came in, she cleared up all of her outstanding charges. And since that time, she's been able to obtain a home, which was the first home she'd had in many, many years, in fact, probably decades. At this point, she really has every incentive to appear in court. She provided the Commonwealth with a statement when her position has been that she was not free to leave Mr. McCarthy, that he essentially held her captive and under duress during the time period after the child died, and that when he went into the hospital, she was finally free from him, and the first thing she did was tell someone. She also voluntarily, apparently, although we'll see how that works out, gave a statement to the state police and has been willing and does want to cooperate with the district attorney. She wants to see Mr. McCarthy held responsible for his actions. She's not charged with murder, she's charged with accessory after the fact. I would suggest to the court that if she were put under house arrest, if she were given a bracelet, if she'd be happy to do daily, weekly, bi-weekly urine samples. She has absolutely no desire to go back on drugs. It was a terrible lifestyle for her, and she does not want to lose her home. She does not want to lose what is contained there, which is essentially the memories of her child. This is a very sad case. It is sad for everyone. It is sad for her as well. And I would ask the court to set a reasonable bail, which has to be a very low amount of money, and I'm not even sure she can raise it. I would ask for a bail of $250, a bracelet, house arrest, and any other circumstance the court thinks would be helpful in having her reappear in court.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shapiro, I know you have the other line. Good morning, Mr. McCarthy.
Good morning, Ron. As I indicated at the sidebar before, Mr. McCarthy at this time is not contesting being held without bail, without prejudice to renewing that.
McCarthy having contested the Commonwealth's request to be held without bail in this case, based on the specific charge that she is facing, as well as the surrounding facts. Ms. Bond will be held at $1 million to assure her appearance in this complaint. Is there any Commonwealth motion at this time?
No Commonwealth motion. Well, Your Honor, there's an agreement of the parties in terms of providing some preliminary discovery. Other than that, no.
Would you like to be heard in the case?
Your Honor, I had filed a motion for discovery, Mr. Deakins, and I have worked on an agreement on that, and as part of that agreement, I've agreed that I will only share the information with my client and my defense team, and it will not be disseminated beyond that.
Okay, based on that agreement, I'll endorse the motion.
Thank you.
The caveat that council must agree upon a motion on that position.
Yeah, I've joined in that motion and make the same agreement. And if I could have my motion for funds endorsed, so I can...
I'll do that.
I have a copy of that, which I left with you.
And myself as well.
Very good. I'll endorse both those motions.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can I see that? Endorse your motion subject to our side conversation and
That's fine.
agreement with the Commonwealth about the discovery issue, okay?
Thank you. First page.
Okay, thank you, Council.
Okay.
If I could suggest, I don't know council's schedule, we haven't had a chance to discuss it. If I could suggest either the 19th or the 20th of October, if those are 29 and 30-day dates, as Your Honor probably can imagine, it's going to be challenging to get this decided in 30 days. So I thought,
Let's pick a 30-day date in order for council
Either one is fine for me.
to be able to appear on behalf of the clients and discuss the status of that matter.
right, so either 19th or 20th.
Yes, Your Honor, and my request would be that it be set down for a probable cause hearing.
Okay. Call what date, Council? So,
I'm going to be on trial in Suffolk County on those dates. So,
well, let's pick one of those dates, Council. You can either be in touch.
I'm going to send somebody to cover for me.
Now, like to be a status situation anyway, but the probable cause date will be set.
I'm wondering just the court schedule for the 20th, Tuesday the 20th makes more sense than Monday the 19th, just given the volume on Mondays, but
That's fine.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, does, the 20th works for me. Ms. Bond, you ought to recognize $1 million cash bill for your insurance back in the court on October 20th. Need to be advised that you should get released, do not suffer any new arrest, do not violate any state or federal laws, so the Commonwealth can motion the court to revoke your bail. We'll see you on October 20th. Mr. McCarthy, you're ordered held without bail, return go back to this court on October 20th. Need to be advised, do not suffer any new arrest, do not violate any state or federal laws, so the Commonwealth can motion the court to revoke your bail. You have that.
Thank you, Council.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
Like, we'll count and you start, you won't have to get it.